Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Looking at Thursday in the NBA. Got a really juicy slate with some really good games. Got props coming out early. So I've got 10 player prop leans, a couple bets in there as well that I'll let you know the difference so you know which bets I've already put down and which ones I'm looking strongly at. A really great night on Wednesday. Happy to say very big bounce back after a tough Tuesday. So we're going to get into all that right now. If that sounds good, give that video a like. Let's jump right into it. Love bouncing back after a tough Tuesday like we did. Lost 3.5 units on Tuesday. Followed it up with getting 2 of them back here on Wednesday with a 6-3 record. That brings us to more than 21 units made on the season. So we're on track here for getting close to about 90 right now, which is better than the 60 that I had as my goal at the start of the season. More than a third of the way there, so we're going to keep it going here. Quick look at how we did. Harden was an easy under. That game was never even close. The Timberwolves blew them out. People think that without Norm Powell, somehow James Harden is going to get more points and stats. He's barely climbed over 25 points at all this season. And so for him to get the 26 tonight against a very good defense that's been playing much better in the Wolves, happily took that under on the points, and he did not even come close as this game was a blowout. Jared McCain, what a look. Can't believe we still got 18.5. I said on the show that I put out this morning for the slate tonight that I loved McCain anywhere at 17.5 to 19.5 in that range. We took it at over 18.5. He cashed for us in the third quarter. Jalen Johnson was a mispriced line as well, 17.5 points for the second best scorer on the Hawks against a bad Bucks defense. That's been playing a little bit better, but not good enough to stop JJ. The Bucks were on the second leg of the back-to-back as well. He got out into transition, made a few threes, cashed real nicely for us. Jaylen Brown, a little bit weird here. Now, I took the rebounds for a couple of reasons. They hit, and they didn't hit until the fourth quarter, and that was at the end of the fourth quarter. And I felt dumb all game knowing he's going to be the guy with the ball in his hand, so assists and points were a great play, and they both cashed. But the rebounds hit too. And the reason I liked the boards was that he's averaging about 8 rebounds per game when he's playing alongside the lineup that he had tonight, which means no Jason Tatum, no Drew Holiday, but everybody else that was in those situations, he's at about 8 rebounds per 36 minutes. And we knew he was going to get 36 tonight. So he cashed. But I just wanted to give the reasoning for it when people are like, this idiot took rebounds when they could have had points for JB when he blah, 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 blah. I don't care. The bet cashed. I did learn a little bit of a lesson here, which is, yeah, when JB's playing without Jason Tatum, he's going to be the man trying to do it all. He's kind of trying to do it all when Tatum's out there. So keep that in mind moving forward, but still happy that bet cashed. And best bet of the night here was Dyson Daniels on the rebounds and assists combined at 7.5. It was plus 115, and he got 9 of those by the third quarter. And I still don't understand why we were getting such plus money. This didn't even get bet down or up at all, right? Like we just stayed at 7.5 rebounds and assists, and that was the closing line. And he cleared that easily. Something that we came back to after he failed to get it the night before, or the game before, I should say. What a lovely hit. I love when the sort of public perception is that he missed it last game and he's not doing as well. No, he's still the same dude. He just had one bad game and didn't get the rebounds and assists last one. So AJ Green crushed my soul tonight. He killed me. He just absolutely tore my heart out of my body. He went 2 for 11 from the field. So at least I get to come back and be like, great read. I had this man to get 7 points and 3+ made threes, as you can see on the alt lines at the bottom. And he missed 9 of his 11 threes that he took. And a lot of those were good looks. I don't know what to say. He just absolutely murdered us, but it's just bad luck. It was just a little bit of regression. I mean, the volume was there, and that's all you can hope for with a 3-point shooter, is that he's going to take the amount of shots that you hope he takes. And he took more than I predicted him for. I had him at 7 threes that he was going to shoot. Still thought it was good to make 3. Didn't get there. Not a big deal. Gershon Yabusele, there's actually a lot of chatter online right now with highlights of him getting 2 rebounds that were called, one was called a steal and one was called a team rebound. Like it wasn't clearly him who picked up the ball. So the NBA stat keeper screwed us entirely on the Gershon bet tonight, even though it seemed like the refs were trying to keep the refs were screwing the 76ers. So everybody hated the 76ers tonight. The stat keeper, the refs, was all baloney. So what a baloney game. Not too worried about it. Did take a little bit of the units and the progress away from us, but we're still in a really good spot. So we're going to keep it rolling here. Like I said, more than 21 units up. And I do want to let everybody know that we still have two of them codes left using VIP disc. So VIP disc is the code if you want 50% off your first 2 months. Still rolling, man. Feeling really good about the last week. So I'm feeling in a good mood. Want to get you guys in. If you don't yet have access to the VIP Discord, there's more than just the plays that I'm putting in there. Also gives you access to one-on-one sports betting consultation. So if you want to get a little bit better, trim some of those bad habits, increase the good ones, hit me up and jump in the VIPs to get access to that. So we're going to get into these 10 plays I have without further ado. Let's jump right into it. as we kick it off with the Cavaliers and the Nuggets and what should be a really good game. Want to let you know we're using Props Madness here on the show. So I'm showing you exactly how to use this awesome tool, of which I am now a partner. Happy to say, shout out to Pips, my guy, for getting me on board. So if you do want to get an account here with Props Madness and get something out of what I'm showing you here, use promo code LYB. That'll get you 25% off your first month. And if you have a Props Madness account and have not yet used a code, you can retroactively get some money off if you do hit me up directly, and I'll get that taken care of for you. You can't just use code LYB, but if you want to get some the percentage off retroactively because you've already paid for it, hit me up and we can take care of that. But let's get into this game here. And my favorite bet from this one so far, and this is a bet that I have made, so we're kicking it off with an actual bet, not a lean. I don't know if it's there anymore. 13.5. It was 12.5, and you can still get some. All right, cool. So we're still looking at 12.5 points. I'm getting this out late here on Wednesday night so that you can make sure that you get some of the numbers that I'm still playing, which is what the VIP Discord gets. 12.5 is a beautiful number for the points prop here for Jarrett Allen. I would be going over on that because I did go over on it. And there's a couple things to keep in mind. A lot of this is going to be hit rate and the matchup. So I'm actually going to show you on StatMuse here. Love to be able to just use StatMuse to go back into games that are further back than just like the last couple games. So we're going to keep it simple here. We're going to look at Jarrett Allen and how he has performed against Nikola Jokic in the last 6 games. So the last 6 times that they face each other, how has he done? And I can tell you right now, it's a thing of beauty here. And these are obviously all in the same matchup here with the Cavs versus the Nuggies. But you can see in all these games, the points are brilliant. He's gone over 12.5 in all of these last 6 against him, dating back to 2021. So all the games that Joker has played, right? That makes sure that we get Nikola Jokic in there so that it's not just him against the Nuggets. So in the 32 minutes a game that he's played, he's at 17 points per game. I also love the field goal attempts for him. Those are up at about 11 field goal attempts per game for this man as he's playing this team. So that does lead me to some really good conclusions about what's going to happen in this one. Also at about 5 free throw attempts, but he's been on one this year. The rebounds make me a little bit nervous with Allen, so I don't know that I'm going to add those in any way. The only other thing I was considering was the Q1 points for him. They're minus 130 for him to get 4 still. He's averaging 4.5. He's gone over this number in 16 of 22. They refuse to bump this number up. He's playing about usually 9 to 10 minutes per first quarter, anywhere from 8 to 10, let's say, which is good enough for me with him. But the points overall for the entire game, I think his minutes are going to stay high. The games that he has played low minutes, not needed nearly as much in those, or he was playing, for instance, the Celtics, 32 minutes in that one, but only 8 points, right? And then against the Wizards, 25 minutes as they won by 31 points. So these last 3 games, he's gone under, which also helps us get really good value on this bet right here. The second one that I want to show you from this game that I also really like, unfortunately, I'm considering a strong under on Donovan Mitchell. I haven't bet this yet. Not unfortunately. I don't know why I'm saying unfortunately. I just know people don't like unders as much. I think I might be able to get this up a little bit more. So this has been wavering at about 26.5 points, minus 112. It's basically around minus 115. But if you look at Donnie Mitchell versus this team in the last 6 games, we take Donovan Mitchell versus Nuggets last 6 games. So 4 of these games are going to be with the Jazz, actually, and just 2 since he's come to Cleveland against this Nuggets squad, but really struggles. As you can see here, the 4 that he played, in all 6 here, he is under, just 1 over when he was on Utah, but 5 of the 6 he's gone under. He's averaging 20 points per game in the 34 minutes he's played. Even if you just look at the last 2 with just Cleveland, it's actually worse. 31 minutes, 35, but then 13 points and 22 points. The field goal percentage is terrible for him as well. 38% from the field, just 25% from 3 for Donnie Mitchell against the Denver Nuggets. Now, the thing that is really keeping me from just betting on this, aside from the fact that I think we might be able to squeak 1 more point out of this to go under, if this gets up to 27.5 and we get a little bit more of a bump. But the thing that keeps me from going on there is that Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was the defender. We know how good of a defender that he is and was as he was guarding Donovan Mitchell. So it's a big reason why he's been why Donovan Mitchell had so much trouble was going up against Kenny Caldwell-Pope. And he's not there anymore. So that's a big reason why I'm not necessarily positive about this Donnie Mitchell bet yet. But if we get this to 27.5, I think this is a hit for me. I mean, this dude has barely done it this season, right? 24 points per game, 8 for 21 that he's actually gone over. I will say a lot of those were blowouts. So if you look at him with the minutes and you give him about 35 plus, this number is going to look a little bit better. And he is going to play 35 minutes in this game as long as it's not a blowout on either side. And I'm not expecting one of those. I also wanted to show you how I'm looking at the matchup stuff. So I'm quickly just going to go through that. that. I'm going to the Cleveland Cavaliers homepage on NBA stats, and I'm going to advance box scores because it's the fastest way to just get to the game. I'm going to change this to 23-24 and then filter this so that they're just playing versus Denver. So this is all on the Cleveland Cavaliers homepage that you can just go to on NBA stats page. Go to this. You can change this to advanced box scores. You can change the season to last season, and then you can make it so that it's just versus the Denver Nuggets last year. So I'm going to hit get stats so it goes filters, and then I'm going to go into the box score. So in this box score, what I'm looking for here is how do I know that Caldwell Pope was the one that was guarding Donovan Mitchell in these games? This is the one with Donnie Mitchell. I'm going into the box score from that game, and I'm going to matchups. And now I'm able to see who was guarding whom for how long. If I go to Donovan Mitchell and put him as the offensive player here, I can see who guarded him the most. When I click on minutes to filter it by the most minutes that was the primary defender, it's clearly Kenny Pope. This is the case for the last game as well. But I highly recommend using this tool here on NBA stats. Find the box scores of the games you want to look at, go to the matchups tab and see who was guarding whom. And it'll help you out a lot because if Kenny Caldwell Pope was still on this team, this would be a bet for me. And if I didn't already know that he wasn't still on the Nuggets, it would be something I wouldn't even think about. But because I know Kenny's been the one shutting down Donnie Mitchell, makes me a little bit nervous that he's not there anymore to take an under on Donovan. One more bet I do have, and this is a bet I put down as well. That's MPJ. I think this number is too low. I would not be the least bit surprised to see this get up to 16.5. I don't feel the need to add the rebounds. I know he's been doing really well on the boards as well, but it's not really well this season. 5.5, man. I don't know. I might even just take that as is. I don't see that sticking around. This is minus 130 right now for him to get the 6 boards. It's a good team, but I mean, look at this hit rate on the season, 7.3. This is with Nikola Jokic, by the way. I already have this filtered right here. So you can see on the season, really good numbers. But if I filter this to just with Jokic so that we make sure that we're taking into consideration Nikola is going to be playing in this game, still a really nice hit rate. And he's played with Jokic for most of the season. Joker just missed like 1 or 2 games so far this year, right? I believe 2 or 3 in a row. Either way. Love the rebounds, but the points are just as good. Look at the points with Jokic in there, right? Like a lot of times guys like Jokic are going to just make their teammates better. So he started the year cold in the first 3, 29% from the field, 31% from the field, and then 50% on just 12 shots in the following game against the Raptors, which they only won by 2 because Joker just took over and scored like 50 or whatever he had. But the last 13 games, that percentage has gone up, still about 54% from the field, not too much of an outlier. 48% from 3 is a lot, but he hasn't even really needed the threes to get his points. So love all that. And the last thing I love about this bet is he is a spot-up shooter, as we know. And this defense for the Cavs is worst against spot-ups, right? 24th in terms of limiting points per game to guys who are catching and shooting or waiting for that shot to spot up. So I do love this for Michael Porter Jr. and anybody that you can expect to be in that type of position, catching and shooting off of the passes from guys like Jokic and Murray, which is what I expect Michael Porter Jr. to continue doing. So love the over 15.5 points for him. There's no way I'm going to fade Nikola Jokic, but I know some of y'all are going to ask me tomorrow on the live show, by the way, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you jump in there if you want to get some of your bets looked at. We'll go over this stuff together. Love having you guys in there. We've had some really good live shows. Sorry that I wasn't able to make it on Wednesday, but we got a bomb slate for Thursday. Plus, we're going to be going over Thursday night football stuff. So definitely want to jump into that tomorrow. But I'll go over Nikola again, but I wanted to at least go over him now for those of you guys watching the video, because I know otherwise the comments will be filled with, what about Nikola Jokic? 28.5 is a bit too high for me. You look at the Cavs, there's nothing here that would tell you to bet on a center and their points. They are second best limiting center points. They are also very good at limiting their rebounds. Yeah, top 10, not awesome. And really good at limiting the assists, which is obviously what we know he's awesome at. So they have a good history against him as well. If we go back to our stat muse and just go Nikola Jokic, if we could type Jokic, come on now, versus the Cavs, let's just say Cleveland Cavs last 6 games, right? So roughly the last 3 seasons. Not very good numbers. And going up against Jared Allen, I mean, not good for other people, I should specify. Not good for Jokic, good for other people is what I'm trying to say. 25 points per game, 15 boards. But you look at these numbers, a few outliers, have only gotten over the 28 once here, and that was in 2022. And the boards, a couple really big board games, but then also only over in 3 of 6. So it's like a 50-50 shot for him. This team is so good at limiting everything centers want to do. You can say Jokic supersedes all of that, and I agree. It's just not worth it as a bet for me, where there's some other good value points on the board here for Thursday night. Looking at the Knicks and and the Hornets game. These two teams just played recently on the 29th of November. Knicks only won by 1 point. It was like a 99-98 game. We took Cat rebounds in that one. I'm kind of back to eyeing Jalen Brunson points here. I do like the way that this defense is terrible right now for the Hornets. It's been terrible all season, and it's even worse than normal, but the pick and roll ball handler has been pretty successful against them. The only thing that they've been doing is not letting spot ups. And that is because Charles Lee comes from the coaching tree there in Boston, where they also don't give up spot ups. So that's going to be what he brought to Charlotte, right? Is that they are not giving up spot up shots to opposing jump shooters because they're not doubling the ball handler. So that does leave Jalen Brunson one-on-one with Cody Martin, maybe some some Josh Green as well. But do either of those guys scare you as able to shut down JB? Not me. I mean, he was 9 of 18 last game, got to the free throw line 12 times. And you can say, well, this team's actually pretty good at limiting free throws. Well, they're not. They're 18th in limiting free throws. And I do think that the point guard position is going to continue to be a problem for them. It's weird. They're limiting point guard points and like other aspects of the point guard, but they're not limiting the things that point guards want to do, which is shoot from up top, play in the pick and roll, and then, find the corners as well. But I think Jalen Brunson, the points are a better play than the assists in this one, just because he's going to have a lot of one-on-one matchups that I think are going to be to his advantage with the way that this defense is just, Nick Richards and Mark Williams are at least back at center for them, but it's not like that's really going to matter for the Hornets. The other bet here would be, this is a lean, by the way, Jalen Brunson, strong lean. The Karl Towns bet, man, I love the rebounds, and I told myself I wasn't going to be scared of taking his boards even at like 11.5 anymore, but 12.5 is a slightly different beast. That's what he's averaging on the season, and this has finally caught up to what he's doing, right? Like we all have been talking on this show about Cat rebounds since the start of the season, since before the season, when I put down a nice little bet on a future for Cat to be the leading rebounder in the NBA at 125-1, and he is currently leading the NBA in rebounds by like 0.1. So we know he's going to keep being dominant. The points, the rebounds, I'm scared of a blowout. I don't know how this thing stays close. The Knicks are rolling right now. They just beat Orlando by 15. They beat the Pelicans by 33. The Hornets was sort of a letdown game for them when they, were coming in and didn't really need to care about them. Just lost to Dallas, which was a tough loss, but smacked the Nuggets and have really been looking a lot better on offense and defense. So I don't know that this game's going to be close enough. At the same time, these Knicks players play a ton of minutes, so we'll revisit this on the live show. But right now, I'm leaning on Brunson on the points, and that's all I really feel that comfortable with right now. A strong lean for me right now in the Thunder and the Raptors game is going to be the opposing center getting rebounds for the team playing Oklahoma City, right, which is the worst rebounding team in the league. If you hover over the sort of square here where they're going to face off against OKC next on Props Madness, you can see that they are dead last in rebounds allowed. That is the last thing there. And so, to the center as well, they're going to continue to give up a bunch of rebounds, I'm sure. Where are they at here on the season now? They are giving up like the 6th most rebounds to the center position, even with iHeart back. Now, you can also filter this on FanDuel Fantasy Pros to give you the last 7 games alone. And in the last 7 games, still not very good. A little bit better, but still not very good, even though Isaiah Hartenstein has been back. If we actually look at who has gotten the rebounds versus the Thunder here in the last few games, Şengün, with Hartenstein back, I want to make sure that's clear. With Hartenstein back in there at center, they've allowed 14 rebounds to Şengün, 12 to AD, 15 to Draymond Green. That should be 14 to Draymond, but that's still a lot. And then 10 to Domas. So 10 to Domas is the thing that I'm actually looking at. I think Domas and Poeltl are probably a little bit more comparable. Maybe you put Şengün in there as well, but either way, I think that rebounds are still there for him. They're still 10.5, I believe. If we put 10.5, minus 120, minus 125. That's about the limit. This might get bumped up to 11.5. So if you feel like getting ahead of this line and getting some closing line value, I think this is a good look. I've got Poeltl here on the season with Scotty Barnes filtered, so you can see to make sure that we're not losing anything here. Like we're taking into consideration everybody that's playing in this game, including Scotty, and it doesn't really seem to matter too much. He's still at 11.6. This is my favorite bet from this one so far, but I can imagine that we're going to have a few more in the live show tomorrow as well. I have a bet I really like in this Phoenix and Pelicans game. There's just everybody and their mom is on the injury report at this point for the New Orleans Pelicans, which we've seen be the case the whole season. So I'm pulling up the injury report, the official one for the NBA. That is linked in the description of the video as well, if you want to make sure that you can get the official NBA injury report. And I'm going down to the games here for Thursday just to show you who's on the injury report for this New Orleans Pelicans team. So we come to this game right here. The Thunder, excuse me. The Pelicans are taking on the Suns. And we've got Jose Alvarado out, Hawkins out, but we've got Brandon Ingram questionable, Herbert Jones questionable, Yves Missy questionable. Those three dudes are so important to what this team does. Obviously, Brandon Ingram being the one that would probably impact CJ the most, but I really want to bet on CJ McCollum. I really want to bet on the player who's really at the top of the key doing work there for this team, and that's going to be CJ McCollum. And there's a couple things I want to show you here for why. The first thing for CJ is you got to love point guards against Phoenix. It's been the case since last season. We tried it with Chris Paul. It ended up being Stephon Castle who scored in that last game versus Spurs versus Suns. So it felt a little bit let down by CP3, but that's not going to deter me from taking opposing point guard points. Say that 5 times fast. Versus Phoenix, right? 25th versus the pick and roll ball handler versus 7th against the spot up. So that tells you how this team plays defense. They do not over pressure the ball handler. They over pressure the shooters. They don't leave the shooters on the wings. And this, as a result, they don't give up much around the 3-point line, and they don't give up much to guys who are waiting in line for catch and shoot stuff. Here's what I want to show you on that NBA stats page once more. That's also really helpful because we know CJ McCollum, and I can show you that, but we know that CJ McCollum takes most of his shots off of the pull-up. He's not waiting for guys to pass him the ball. He's the primary ball handler, so he's pulling off of the dribble. He's not waiting for someone to get the catch and shoot. So I want to know, how does Phoenix do against the catch and shoot? I can go to NBA Advanced Stats, go to opponent shooting, and then I can pull up, instead of this overall, I can pull up general. That's going to allow me, so I'm on teams, opponent shooting, general. That's going to allow me to go and see, is it catch and shoot or is it pull up, right? And are teams better against catch and shoot shots or pull up shots? So I want to go to pull ups because I know CJ does that the most. And you could go to players and find all this. I'll show you another time, but I know that he does that. So what I'm looking at here is the pull ups and how this team defends it. First thing I want to know is how often are they getting the pull-up shot against them? So the frequency is a lot better than just the field goal attempts. Teams play at a faster pace than other teams. So frequency is a little bit more helpful and telling than just the raw attempts. The frequency is at the highest in the league, right? 29% that they are giving up the pull-up shot because they're not helping off of the spot-up shooters. The guys standing on the wing waiting to catch and shoot are not getting anything. They're not being left by their defender. So that does mean that we've got catch and shoot possibilities here for CJ. The 3-point frequency as well, going to be very high for them. Still in the top 10 in terms of the highest frequency of 3-point field goals off the pull-up that are being taken against them. This is really helpful when you know the tendencies of a player like CJ McCollum, whether he's pulling up from the mid-range or he's pulling up from 3, he's pulling up and he ain't going to be catching and shooting. So he's the player that I really want to take here to get their points against this Phoenix defense, but I still just got to wait to see if BI and others are playing, because if BI is in there, I just don't know if I like 20.5 points for CJ McCollum. All right, last game that I have time for with you guys, and as I mentioned, going to go back over all of this in the live show tomorrow, 5:30. Not go over this again, but go over the bets we want to make and find that value. This is going to be a game I think we got value, for sure. The Bulls and the Spurs, I think we're going to see a lot of fast pace here. We're not going to have Wemby out there for the Spurs, so we can take advantage of that. And for the Bulls, we can take advantage of some stuff here, but we still got to look at their injury report as well, because we got some stuff that's pending for Chicago here. So if you look at the Bulls, Lonzo's out, but Giddey is questionable, which is big. And that's really what I want to know is Josh Giddey going to play? Because he's going to be very impactful if he does, with Kobe White not playing, and neither is Pat Williams. So I'd like to be able to take Josh Giddey on assists, probably some rebounds. I believe he has props up, but I would love to be able to take him with one of those guards, that guard being Kobe White not playing. If Josh Giddey does not play, right now I believe his assists are 6.5. Oh, juice way to the over. I'm okay with that. What are the Spurs? 8th in assists allowed. Let's see what they are against the point guard real quick. We're doing this together live, baby. The assists for the Spurs against PGs, they're actually pretty good. Yeah, they're pretty good limiting assists, but either way, I actually don't care that much. A big part of that is going to be Wemby being out there. If Giddey is unable to go, don't mind the rebounds either for the man. Assists and rebounds will probably be the play for me. In fact, I'll probably just go PRA for Giddey with Kobe White out. I think he's going to be very active in this game. Either way, I think Dosunmu is going to be another good player to take his dimes if there's no Giddey in this game. 4.5 you can get from -130. I'm kind of waiting to see what the deal is with Giddey. He's been diming up a bit in his last couple games back, and we see that at least one of these last game, no Kobe White, 13 potential assists for Io, 6 assists that he pulled. So I think without Kobe White, we're going to see him a lot more involved in the passing game. I believe he was second in the team on passes behind Josh Giddey in this last game. So that's going to be really helpful. Knowing how many passes and touches a player has, always very helpful. I think Io is good for the assists. I really want to take CP3 for the assists. I think at this point in time, we all know how bad Chicago is at limiting assists. They're dead last. Make sure I'm not lying to you. Oh, I'm sorry. They're second to last now. I believe the Pellies are dead last with their poo-poo ass defense. But I still like this. This number is pretty high for Chris Paul. I'd make sure that you check out, like, what's a double-double for him? Can you get better juice than just the 104 for the 9.5 rebounds? Because if he gets a double-double, it's going to be with 10 assists, not 10 boards, right? So I think the assists are probably still a good look, but check the double-double. Right now, it's right at about the same number for Chris Paul as I'm recording this for you guys on Thursday night. So, I don't know how it's going to move entirely, but I'd definitely be looking at him. I've also been attacking Harrison Barnes' rebounds when Wemby is out. And you can see these are still at 4.5. Games without Wembanyama this season for Harrison Barnes. Nice little 2 out of 3 on the boards. One game that he didn't, they lost by 17. He only played 24 minutes, but then in the last 2 without Wemby, Jeremy Sohan was missing as well. So maybe we go to Sohan as I'm looking at this. We don't know if Sohan's for sure in yet. He doesn't even have props up. But if Sohan is not a go, Harrison Barnes rebounds is an absolute smash spot. And I will be hitting that. So more to come on this game tomorrow during the live show as these props still continue to trickle out. I know that I'm going to have at least one bet in this Bulls and Spurs game once we get a little bit more of a definitive understanding of that injury report. All right, hope you guys got something out of this. Definitely make sure to give that video a like if you're getting anything out. Subscribe to the page so you don't miss any of this stuff. Got Thursday Night Football with player prop projections and my best bets from that game as well in a separate episode that's up tonight on Thursday to get that out for you guys, or up tonight on Wednesday to get it out on Thursday for you. So check that one out as well. If you do want to get into the VIP, not miss any of these bets, we're up 21 and a half units on the season now in the NBA after a nice Wednesday night, I should say. So looking to keep it going. Don't miss that money. Don't miss the sports betting consultations as well. And until I see y'all next, happy betting.